Topic for today is building an AI-powered news analytics dashboard for Ghana. And I think a lot of us knows about web scraping, so I'm not going to talk too much about it. So those of you who don't know, I'm just going to hit briefly on what web scraping is. So web scraping is a software method of scraping data from different websites. And this keeps attention on the transformation of the unstructured data. Mostly it's unstructured. So unless few cases where you have it in a tabular form, but in most cases it's unstructured, then you try to transform it into a structured format and then store and analyze it. So basically that is web scraping. And the difference between web scraping and web crawling is when you want to actually crawl the entire website, like the whole website from end point A to point Z, like the entire website. So that is what we call web crawling. But web scraping, you can just take a single page and then extract whatever information you want to extract and store that information. So that's the difference between web scraping and then web crawling. So as you can see, you have on the left a website, and the middle you have a scraping tool that you can develop. And then once you scrape that data set, you put it into a structured form. There are cases also where you want to store the data in unstructured format depending on your storage format. So it could be in Excel format, CSV, it could be JSON, JSON-L, whatever form you want to store that data, the final data. So you can see that from the left, we have a website that we want to scrape. And once you scrape it, on the right, you put it into a CSV form, which is in a structured format. So there's always a disclaimer. Not all data is free, and not all website owners allow you to scrape data from their website. Some of them, they put some clauses here and there that, hey, look, you can't scrape our website. And once you do so and they find out, they can, pursue legal actions against you and stuff like that. So, and some websites, they are so dynamic that it's very, very difficult to scrape them because of the measures they put in place, especially government websites. Some government websites are very, very difficult to scrape. So you always want to check the terms and conditions of those websites before you decide to scrape them. And also you have to be very responsible and stay within the legal limit at all times. So if you look at X, one of their terms of condition is that if you look down there, they will tell you cannot scrape the services without express written permission. So mostly X, formerly Twitter, they don't allow you to scrape things from their website. But most people do anyway. But if they want to, they find out and they want to take you on, they can do so. So what to know before you want to get into web scraping, you have to know at least basic HTML. So you need to know all the HTML tags here and there, and that will help you to, scrape website. And web scraping is a very job sensitive area that most people can go into. You can be in Ghana, anywhere else in the world, and go into web scraping. So if you go to Upwork, for instance, and then you type web scraping jobs, you can see that there's a whole lot of jobs available, and it's an area that most people don't pay attention to. So because a lot of people want data from different sources, they want people to scrape some of this data for them. So that is one thing that we have to take note of. If you are done with school and you're looking for side gig here and there, you can venture into, web scraping. You can be at home and be doing stuff like that on the side. So you can see somebody is paying web scraping and browser integration developer. They're paying like this particular job. The person says $50. This one, like they're saying $30 per week, blah, blah, blah. So there's a whole lot of jobs on Upwork that most students can explore. So there are types of scrapers that we want to pay attention to. Formerly used to be the legacy scraping, which is you open a website and then you try to look for the HTML tags and then fish out all the necessary things that you want to scrape. But recently, it's moving towards the LLM era, where you give a link and then you try to prompt what the LLM should do on the website. So that is the LLM-powered scrapers. These are the modern ways of scraping data from websites. Sometimes when you give a website to an LLM to scrape for you, sometimes it can hit the context window depending on the LLM you are using, because sometimes the website is so huge that it cannot fit into the context of that LLM. So you have to take note. Sometimes you want to dump the data into, let's say, some file and then clean it up a bit before you dump everything into an LLM to, reformat the data for you. So if you look at this prompt, for instance, somebody will put this link into an LLM and say, okay, help me draft a Python code to scrape books from this website. And then they will specify what they want from that link and say, okay, these are the info I want to get: the book title, the ratings, the price, the status of each book. The results needs to be in a table format. You can say, okay, CSV, JSON, blah, blah, blah. If that LLM is able to do it, you are good to go. But there are some cases where the LLM wouldn't be able to fish out all this information. So you have to manually write your code. For this prompt, for instance, I did it. So maybe after I share the slides, you can copy this prompt and then dump it into ChatGPT. You will see the results for yourself, and it works. But there are cases where if you dump a different link and then ask it similar question, it won't be able to do it. So in that case, you have to do everything manually yourself. There are certain frameworks that I would like attendants to explore. There are LLM-based or AI-based scrapers out there, and I found this few very interesting, especially the ScrapeGraphAI, the Crawl for AI, FireCrawl, Duckling, and Scrapey. They are all based on, they all have some underlying LLM engines there. And I think the Crawl for AI, FireCrawl, Duckling, they are working good. So I'll introduce some of them to the attendants. So there are so many limitations between the traditional way of scraping and then the LLM-based. So with the traditional way of scraping, if you have a website that is very dynamic, the developers keep changing things on the website, and you build a scraper for it, maybe in a few 3 days or 1 week, you realize that you are not able to scrape that data anymore. So you have to go back into the HTML and then figure out where those tags are and then adjust your scraper again. So that is the case where your scrapers break in most times. And I've experienced that a lot. I've built so many scrapers that over time they break because the website developers, they keep changing the tags and stuff like that. And but the advantage is if the site is very consistent, it doesn't change that much. Your scrapers will keep working every single day. But with the LLM base, they don't care about the frequent changes. They're able to fish out whatever information is there in real time. They don't care because they're able to reason behind the scene. So those are the differences. So as I said before, there are some challenges. The website can change without warning. So if they change, your scrapers are going to break. And the developers, they don't have to warn you that, hey, we are changing our website. Because they don't even know you are scraping data from their website. So they can do whatever they want to do to their website. It's their website. And there are some dynamic websites that are very, very difficult to scrape. Those ones you need serious tools to be able to go around it. There are cases where you have messy HTML and contents are hidden in JavaScript. I've seen a website like Walmart, for instance. I was trying to do some work over there. Instead of they embedding their information in the HTML tags, they actually put it inside the JavaScript tags, and that can be very, very difficult to extract information from. So those are things that everybody needs to pay attention to. So some applications, you can use it as a side gig to make money. If you are into research, you can do a lot of data scraping to use that for your research. And what I've seen in Ghana, for instance, is very, very difficult to access data for research. You ask people here and there, and nobody will give you an answer as to where the data is. It's like data in Ghana is like cocaine. Let me put it that way. It's very, very difficult to get, and people are sleeping on the data. They don't want to release it. You also don't know what they are doing with the data. So I don't know. Maybe something will change going forward. And web scraping is also good for bloggers. The rate at which bloggers are springing up in Ghana, for instance, if you're a blogger and you need real-time news, data, and all of that, you can employ somebody to be doing that work for you. And that will make your blogging job very, very easy. And they are unlimited. Okay, you can also use it for your AI, ML model training. And then there are unlimited possibilities also. So, what can you do with the script data? As I said, build AI agent, RAG system, pre-train LLMs and stuff like that. And with this AI agent, you can actually have different agents, sub-agents that you say, okay, scrape the data for me. This agent will say, okay, clean the data. The next agent analyze the data. So in that manner. So these are some of the usage. So before we get ready for our hands-on, I'm actually going to implement the first pipeline, and maybe I'll just show what is in the second pipeline because it's a lot of work. So what is on the left is a website we'll be scraping and extract the data from it. And then we'll store the data in a CSV. And then we process it and then put it into a Streamlit dashboard. And then the second one is I actually have an Airflow pipeline that will constantly monitor a website maybe on a daily basis, extract the data, push it into a database. Actually, I'm using Postgres, so I have to change this. Push it to Postgres, and then in real time, you can build a dashboard to be fetching the data from the database. Yeah, so I think that is the high level overview of what we are going to do. We are going to do use the next 10 minutes for an exercise, and then from there, the rest I'll just be doing the demo so we can move quickly. Is there any question anybody want to ask before we jump into the demo? Okay. Okay. Everybody can see my screen, right?
Yeah, your screen is visible.
Okay. So let's say right now we are going to Jubilee House. So we are going to use Jubilee House website. They actually have the website is presidency.gov.gh/press release. That's what. So let's say you are asked to scrape data from Jubilee House on a daily basis, and then you do what kind of analysis based on the news that the presidency is posting on a daily basis. So this is our target. So if you can see, that is our president. And if you look at, this is how the page looks like. And you can see at the bottom, we have page 1, page 2, page 3 up to page 17. So you are asked to scrape all this data from page 1 to page 17. But we are going to start with page 1. So if you click on read more, you will see that there's a header here, there's a date here. We are interested in the header, the date, and then also the text or the content of that news. Okay. I have another script that will add the images, all the images in this page. Maybe you are also interested in the images that they are posting. Okay, so you want to add the links to all these images. So if you right click and then you do inspect, mostly that's how you start with your web scraping. You have to inspect the HTML tag. So as you can see, I don't know if it's big enough. I don't know how to enlarge this one. Okay, if you look at it, there's an HTML tag called H1, class is what, H2, and then you will see the header over there. And if you look at the date also, inspect, you see that the date is in between a div class called article date. So that's our target. And then also the content, okay, or the actual news. If I inspect it, you see that it brings us to a div class called content. Okay, so a div class called content, and it has some p tags all over the news. So basically, so these are the 3 things that we are targeting on this website. So quickly, I'm going to create a file. I'm going to create a file called demo.py. So I'm going to paste some few code, and then I'm going to just explain it so that it doesn't take much of our time. I'm not too sure the level of Python skills for everyone, but this is how you import libraries from Python, and then we are going to use the beautiful soup library for the scraping. And this header here, mostly you need it because you want to appear to the website like you are a human being. You are not a robot, but an actual human being. Else, if you don't have this header, sometimes the website they block access to your to the request because they feel like you are whoever is trying to access that website is a robot. So this thing here is very important. And then we have a link to the website that we want to scrape. And I don't think I will need this one, so I'll comment it out for now. So what we are going to do here is that we're going to have a response call to request.get. We are going to use the get method. And then we pass in the headers, is equal to headers. So that is how you actually make a request to this Jubilee House link. And then from here, we'll declare another variable called soup, and then we'll say beautiful soup. And then we pass in the response object dot. We get a text, and then we have something we call HTML.parser. That will pass the HTML. So if we print this soup, is going to give us some objects. So let's say Python demo.py. Did it print anything? Okay, I think I know why. Okay, so let's do this first. So in this website that I showed earlier, there are so many URLs. Okay, let me go to the main page. There are so many URLs that are embedded in this HTML page. Okay, so let's retrieve all these URLs first. So we have a URL object, and then we want to okay, let me do this. There's something we call href, and this is a ref linking to a URL link inside that website. So we have for A in soup, select, we want to get a div.article. I'll show where all this information is, so don't worry yet. .button, and then a.button, bring custom. Okay. Okay, let me print the URLs. Then let me let this one go. Okay, so let's go back to the URL. If you look at this page, you see that they are read more, read more, read more. These are all the URLs to the articles. So if I click on the first link, this is the page. You can see the endpoint is like this. And then if I go back, this is another endpoint. But if I inspect this read more, you see that there's a link. This A tag, and it has a class of what? Article -I button. And then within it, there's another class called button custom. And it's referring to this href. So this is the link we are trying to get. Okay, this URL from all the pages, this page, right? We want to get all the URLs from this single page. So that's why we are doing this. Okay, so if I print URL, why is it not printing? Oh, okay, yeah, I know why. Okay, so if I run this, it returns empty. Okay, let me see. So yeah, sometimes the Jubilee House websites, it goes off and off. Let's see.
Please, can you check the spelling of the custom?
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's good. A good catch. Thank you. Okay, so thank you. That was a good one. Means somebody is following. So you see, these are all the URLs from that single page. Okay, so you can see that we have Ghana and Colombia strengthening ties as Vice President meets in Accra, and then the next one until the last one, which is First Lady takes health services. So if we go to the main website, you see that this is the last one. First Lady takes health services to Sonyani. See, so we've been able to get the URLs from this page. Okay, so the next thing is to make a request to each of these pages. Okay, so if we make a request to each of these pages, then we try to get into it to scrape the title, the date, and then the content of the article. So let me bring this thing down. So I'm going to do for URL and URLs. So we are just looping over all the URLs that we have. And then we can also make a request to each of the URL. Okay, so, and then we pass in the headers is equal to headers. Once we do this, we can actually check for the status code, but let me ignore it for now. We don't have much time. So we can say soup underscore URL is equal to beautiful soup, and then we pass in r.text, and then we do the same HTML dot parser. Once we do this, this is where we can find all the HTML tags in that individual web links. Okay, so let's say we want the title of the article, we want the date, and then we also want the content. So these are the three things we are interested in. So now you use the soup URL dot find. There's a method called find, and then we are looking for the H1 tag, and then we pass in the class. That's what we have, the H2. The Then we want to call this method get text at the end of the day, and strip is equal to true. So basically, if you look at the title, as I said before, it's within H1 tag, and then the class is what, H2. So that's how you fish out the information. And then for the date, you also know that it's within the article class. So we say soup underscore URL dot find, and that is in a div class called article hyphen date. And then the content, we look for we want to find the div, and then the class. Then the class is what, content. And each of this, we get the text. If you don't get a text, sometimes you might get some weird results back, which you need to, pre-process. So this get text is very important. Yeah. Happening. Okay. Okay, so once we get all this information, we can put it in a dictionary called article. And then we can have our title. We can have our content. We can also have a link to the article. Then we can also have the publish date. And the published dates, okay. So let's add the okay. I think we already have dates. Let me put it this way. Date tag, so that makes a bit of sense. Date tag. And then the URL. And then we have the content. And then the title. Okay. And then we can actually create a list here, articles.
Please don't forget to include the comma after the title.
Yeah. Thank you. All right, so we can append all this thing to the articles.append, and then we say article. Okay, so that is that. And then once we do this, we can actually print. So I'm going too fast. Can actually print articles. So basically, we've scraped our first website from Jubilee House. So the next thing we can do is to, run it, right? URL. Response.get. Text. Text request. Okay, yeah. Okay, let me try again. Okay, so now you can see this is all the data that we've just scraped from. This is the link, and then you can see that the rest of the content is inside a list. So we have the title, we have the content, and see, this is very messy. We have the link, and then we have the date up to this point. So that is our first article. Yeah, anybody have a question so far? Okay, since there are no questions, we can move on. So now we know how to scrape our website. Now, what do? We have to dump it into a CSV or whatever form we want to dump it. So here I have a Jupyter notebook. This time around, we are not just going to be typing again because now you know how to go about it. So what we just did by typing is what I have in this Jupyter notebook. But this time around, we are going to push the final data to, let's say, a JSON file. So I'm just going to run everything. Okay, so now we run everything. We have the first article was what? Okay, let me open the data folder. Press release, what is the name? Main, press release, main JSON. Okay, so this is how the data looks like in a CSV form. And there are about 12 articles on that page, that single page. So if you are to scrape everything from page 1 to page 17, you have to do another outer for loop to move from each single page to the last page. So you just have to replicate what you have for the first page for the next 17 pages. I think I have a script for that, but I'm just going to run it. I will be pushing all this code to GitHub, so if anybody wants to play with it, they can do so. So let me see if it's okay. So before we go with this one is where we want to add the images of the people in the on the page. Okay, so this script will look for the source tags in there. So you can see I define a function called extract image URLs. So if I run this code right now, you will see that the result, okay, let me run it before I talk through it. Okay, it's done. So as you can see, the title of the article is what? Ghana and Colombia. The date is today, December 12th. And then you see we have the URL and then the images. There are 4 images in that article. So if I click on the first one, you see that the vice president shows up here. And then let me click on the other one too. She's the same one. Yeah, let me click on the last one. Yeah, she, and then I don't know where this president is from. Colombia, okay. Yeah, so you can actually extract all the images in that article too if you are interested in it. And then the second article, President Mahama arrives in Kenya for Jamhuri Day, or I don't know how to say it, but yeah. So this is how you scrape the article link, the content, the date, and all of that, the images in that article. What if we want to add the next few pages? I think I have a script for that too. So these are the article links. We pass in the article and then put everything. So this is where you start from page 2 to 17. Let me put it that way. How do you get the pages? If you come here, come to press release, and then you click on 2, you see the URL changes to press release page /2. If you click on 3, it will change to 3. So once you've seen the trend, that's how you write the code according to. So you see the last page is page 17. So what I did here was to change from 2 to 17 and then +1. Those of you know Python, you add +1 by it's -1 with the base URL. Then once you get all the pages here, you can then start with your request to each of the single URL. But sometimes you don't want to force the website too much, so you can add a little bit of timing in between each request so that you don't overload. Some website, if you overload multiple requests, they can block you. So sometimes you want to add few seconds in between each request. So that is what it's doing here. And this one, you are already familiar. And then we get all the links, and we get a title, date, content, blah, 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 blah. And we scrape everything. So let me just run everything. So it says that scraping 17 listing pages. So this is the first one is the main page. The second page up to like page 17. So let's wait for it to finish. So now we have about 197 articles on that page so far. So here we are scraping every single page from. And once we scrape everything, we are dumping the results in press release all.jsonl. So we'll go and check that file once everything is done. Any question in between? Press release all.jsonl. Okay. I think we are on 157/197. Okay. But whilst it keeps running, let me open. Okay, I think it's. Let me restart it. Sometimes it behaves. That's why I said you have to put some few seconds in between so that it doesn't overload the website. And sometimes you can get stuck if you put too much multiple requests at the same time. So I think this one is going faster. Okay, so now it's done after the restart. So So this is how the final data looks like after running for all the pages. So this is a huge data set that you can use for your research or however you want to go about it. So you can see it's very huge. There's another script that I wrote, and this one, it actually added the URLs also. So if you, let me go to the data. So this one gives the title, the date, the content, and then also the link, and then the image URL. So just like the Colombia case, you can actually scrape and add all the pictures, all the photos in that URL. You can actually append it to it. So that is the one I'm calling press release with image URLs. So you can have all these data. So any data point that you want from that website, you can actually add it. So that is that. Any questions so far? Okay, so this is one way of going about the data scraping. There's several ways that you can explore also. So if we look at the LLM approach, let me open this. So there are crawlers like Crawl for AI, as I said earlier on. If I want to, let me go for my Joy Online. Okay, so this is my Joy Online website. Imagine I want to scrape all this information from my Joy Online. With the Crawl for AI, all I need to do is to copy this. This is a CLI command. Okay, so let me CD down, CD to CLI. Okay. So all I need to do is to paste this command. So if I run this, so it's actually done. So if I go inside CLI data, and then it was what my Joy Online, my Joy. Where is my Joy? This is my Joy Online.json. So you can see that this is a whole bunch of data, but here the data is very messy. Okay, it's not structured. Let's see if we keep going. If you see this Daddy Lumba news, court clears way for Daddy Lumba's funeral. So you see, it has the link in there, and then other information. So this one is very, very unstructured. So you have to write another script to fish out all the URL links and then the title and all of that. So it can be very messy. There is another one. Let's say we want to also use the Duckling. Okay, there's another package called Duckling. If I run this from the terminal, this is for Joy News again, the same website. That will be saved. Okay, so the Duckling actually finished. So that is also saved to, where is the MD? I think it's this one. Yeah, it's news.md. So you see the same website, you see all of them are scraping the data in a different form. You can see how this one is scraping it. It's just giving you the title to each of the articles. That is the most recent. Wesley Girls case, blah, 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 blah. And this is how you get it. So here you have to pre-process the data again, which is not fun. It's a pain in the ass to, polish this data set up. And yeah, so these are the two other areas you can also look at. Let's say I have this website called thinkingmachine.ai blog, blah, blah, blah. I want to scrape whatever is in there. If I do so, you see how nice it will come out. Let me paste that one as well. Okay, it's saved to laura.md. You see how it came out. Very, very nice. You see, it came in a markdown format. And those of you who are doing research, these are some of the things you can do to get the data in this format. And let me actually open that website and you see how it looks like before. You see, this is how the page looks like, right? So if you are doing research and you have this kind of page, you don't want to, read it, or you want certain information that you want to add to your research, you can actually scrape this web page. You see how it is. You can actually scrape the website into this MD format. You can see the table, all the table is copied over. You can now read it. If you want pieces of information, you can copy it and put it into your research work. You can even do it for archive links, something of that nature, and it will put that data into a markdown file like this for you, and you can do whatever research you're doing. You see, added the author of this article to it so that you can cite the person. So these are the various ways you can scrape websites like this. Any questions? So I'll put this code there that you can run the rest of the code by yourself. If you need any help too, you can let me know and I'll help you out. That is that. With the LLM-based approach, that is, we are using the crawl for AI, and we want to, scrape the same Jubilee House websites, but we are going to use the LLM approach. But remember that you need API keys for this because we are using OpenAI. So if you don't have access to the API keys, you have to go with the manual approach. What's happening? Okay. So yeah, I think let me do this one instead. Okay, so there is this page that I wanted to scrape, right? And this page is Ghana Web. It's from Ghana Web. So let's go and open that link. So Ghana Web actually posted this, and you can see that this is coming from the 2024 elections. And I want to get this data from, even though the table is very easy to get, but I want to use a scraping tool. Possibly in the future, you might have different pages giving this result. Okay, so I just want this table, region, total vote, winning party, and all of that. That is what I want. So I developed this scraping tool using LLM, and I'm actually using OpenAI GPT-4o, but again, you need Open API key. So I'm just telling the AI that it should crawl the content, extract, mention region, total vote, winning party from the article. Do not miss any region, total vote, winning party in the entire content. Once extracted, I think the wording is wrong. Model JSON format. I was just trying to say should extract in a JSON format. Should look, then the output should look like this. Region, voter, total vote, blah, blah, winning party, NDC. So once I prompt it this way, the rest, I want it to save it in a CSV file. And the header should be like this, total vote, region, winning party, and all of that. And then I specify the URL. And then once I run this, let me add the kernel to it before. Then I can run everything. So it will go out to this web page. I'll be correcting this wording. So if I check the code in, you won't see that again. So you can see that it's done. It actually scraped Ashanti region, total vote, 2 million and over, winning party, MPP, blah, blah, blah. And then it actually put everything in this CSV format. So where is it? Okay, I think it's this one. So you see, it actually put everything in this CSV format. If you don't want the last column, you can take it out. It's just an error checking. So you can see that within a few seconds, I'm able to extract everything from that Ghana Web website where I don't have to copy anything. It's just straightforward. And you can, I think I did it for the news as well. So if you look at this CSV, also I did it for the same thing. It's able to extract the title of the article and then the URL. So these are the LLM-based approach. Yeah, so basically those are the two areas you can focus on, but the LLM approach is going to cost you money because you are going to be hitting their endpoint for tokens. So you have to pay for it. If you don't want to pay for it, you go with the legacy approach of scraping websites. Now, let's go to the dashboard. So I think our next thing is to go with the dashboard. Any questions so far? So I have a dashboard that was built. So this is the data we are going to be dealing with, 94. 94, okay, 94 is here. So we have the title, the content, the author, the category, published date, and all of that. So these are all the articles I combined, and it's in a CSV format. This data can be stored in a database, but to make things very simple, I just decided to put it in So I think the total rows, let me just. So the total rows for this article is about 11,620. So I combine articles from different dates and all of that into one single file. And let me see. And then I built an AI agent that will actually visualize the data for topics, trends, sentiment, and all of that, word clouds, and all of that. But again, this implementation, you are going to be needing the open AI keys. And here we are just loading the news. We are computing sentiment. We are computing sentiment for all the content column of the article. This one, we are computing the topic modeling. And then here we are generating word clouds. The next function, looking for positive and negative sentiment. Then here we're going to run the news agent. Yeah, the news agent. And then the rest is just basic pandas and Streamlit code and stuff like that. So and one thing that I also, anybody who is going to be running this code, once I check it in, there are so many options available. You can build on it. This is just basic. You can build on it. So there are cases where I was looking for economic related articles like inflation, what are people talking about, fuel, jobs, stock market, stuff like that, cost of living, blah, 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 diesel, gas price, fuel, petrol, things like that. Those are the economic indicators. And then also we are filtering for positive, negative news articles. Yeah, so I don't want to go into every single line of code. I'll just run it. If on the side you are interested to know something, you can just let me know. So I'm just going to start with the Streamlit first. So it's running on 8501. Okay. So this is how the Streamlit app looks like. It actually loaded the news from that file that I showed. So this is just the first 10 rows in that file. You can see the title, the content, the author of that. You see some is coming from Graphic Online, My Joy Online, and all of that. And the author of that article, the category, the date, and then the page URL. So this is what you see if you open that file. So it's still computing the sentiment. Once it's done, then so as it's running, I'm going to show you the airflow thing that I talked about. So this is the airflow, right? The airflow is just for scheduling jobs. If you want to actually automate this scripting tool, you can get a airflow and then the script will be running on a daily basis. It could be weekly, monthly, or whatever you set. But in my case, I set the script should be running on a daily basis. And if I click here, this is how the code look like. And we are all familiar with this. The base URL is presidency.gov and blah, 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 blah. And if I want to run this, all I need to, let me clear this and start again. So now I've triggered the script to run. And once this is running, you can see that it's actually, if you look at the logs, it's actually scraping the data in real time. So now it's done. Once this is done, it will dump the data into PostgreSQL, which we can go and have a look. So I have this PostgreSQL here. Let me make this bigger. Let me do DT. So it was actually dumped into this database. So I'm just going to select title and then the publish dates, presidency, press releases. Let me just limit it to 10. So you can see that it actually scraped this article that was posted yesterday. So this is what just got triggered. So this is actually saved in this database. So you can actually hook your Streamlit up to this database so that it will be refreshing in real time as and when that Airflow pipeline is triggered. Let me see if the Streamlit is ready. Okay, so now the Streamlit is ready. This is what we see. We have about 114 articles, and then we have 46.5 positive related articles, and then 49.1% negative related articles. And then the average sentiment score is negative 0.025. And if we want to visualize all the article, this is how it looks like. Let me select some few ones. If you keep selecting, this is how the tables will behave like. Yeah, so you see that the sentiment keeps changing depending on the category you select. And once I select these things, it also filters out about 34 economic related articles. And this economic related, it has something to do with fuel, inflation, and all of this information. So about 34 of them is related to this filter. And at the end of it, you can see that the last column is the sentiment score for each article. You see that some are 0.7, some are negative 0.7, negative 0.5. So those are the sentiment score for each of the articles. And if we want to see the most positive article in that data set, so this is the most positive article, and it has a score of about 0.9, and the category is education regional. So this article was posted on this date and blah, blah, blah. And the most negative article is, it also has a sentiment score of negative 0.9, and it's a crime-related article, so it makes sense. And I think it's not even local news, it's international news in Minnesota, postal worker. So it makes sense. Here, if you want to look at the word clouds. So if you want to look at the word clouds, these are some of the words that are the big ones are the most popular words. concerning policy, platform, contributors, and if you look through, you can see that there's Uforiata near multimedia group somewhere here. That means that there was some conversation around him. Yeah, Central region, Opoku Prempe, that's Napo. There was some things going on. Then there's also a professor somewhere. There was a conversation going around a professor. Yeah, so this is the word clouds. If we also want to look at the sentiment, yeah, so this is how the sentiment graph looks like, but it's just the line is like this because of the filters that I put in here. Let's also look at, let me say something positive. So these are some positive news. You can filter by positive news. If you're a blogger and you are only interested in negative news, you can actually filter by this and do your blogging with all the negative news. So once you see that, okay, they say a 26-year-old Nigerian who allegedly murdered a woman and her daughter in Nigeria fled to Ghana. So we all heard this news, right? So it has a negative 0.8 sentiment. So if you're a blogger, you can actually take this and make noise out of it.
Enjoy.
Somebody is asking a question. Okay, let's go on. So these are some of the things you can do. Let me see if I can, let me see trends. Okay, so these are some of trending topics ranked by top 5. If you can see, there was some trending topics about Kwame Nkrumah. I'm sure it was Kwame Nkrumah. MPP, Bawumia, Opoku, Prempe. So that's, I think it was around Napo when he said Kwame Nkrumah. So you can actually tell there was a lot of keywords around Kwame Nkrumah, Napo, Dr. Opoku Prempe, Bawumia, and all of that. And then other one is Daddy Science, authority, blah, blah, blah. So if you're in Ghana, I think this one is Acha, maybe Raymond Acha, Yoko Boss doing some stuff. Maybe chairman, maybe related to chairman. To me, nobody knows about that. You can always verify. And yeah, so these are some of the trending topics you can look at. I think, let me see, category. Okay, I think it's another group of sentiment positive ones. Yeah. So now if we go back to the airflow, I had another one for, okay, this is just for the basic press release. So I think that is okay. Yeah, so now I have the last thing I want to talk about. Let me see. I have some exercises that if somebody is interested to work on, let me see. I actually wrote a script for it, but it will be an exercise for somebody who is interested. So if you come to bible.com, audio Bible, let me hit it.
Most of whom I had to put a being now say Exodus. Exodus, here Eddie can. Israel for Mizraim.
Okay, so if somebody is interested in translation, right? I've seen people building large language models based on translation, maybe P to English, English to P, and all of these things. You can actually come here and get all your data from here. So I actually scrape something on it. So if I inspect this, let's see.
Jacob man ne wɔn abusuafo a wɔn no tu kɔtena no din na edidi so Ruben.
Okay, so you can see that there is a URL link which is .mp3 file here. So this file is what you are going to be scraping. Once you scrape these URLs, then you can actually process each of the URLs to actually download the MP3 files. And this exercise is very tricky because if you look at the ending part, it has Exodus.1 and AKNA, blah, blah, blah. And it has some numbers also, the 1631. And if you click here, you have all the Bible chapters. Okay. And then this one is fixed. If you want to look at the Ewe one, this is how that one too looks like. You see that if you look at it, you have 1631 in between and then 1613 in between. But the ending Exodus 1 is the .al for Ewe, and then 3 is AKNA. That's how they've named some of the things. So you have to actually inspect it very well. So if I play this one too. Yeah, so this is audios that you can actually scrape from Genesis to Revelation. And then you try to build whatever thing you want to build with it. So if somebody is interested, yeah, I can share. This is this is the code to do that. This is the code to do that. And then also to downloading the audios, the URLs, the MP3 files, and all of that. So once you scrape it, you have it in this format, the P, the content, and then transcripts in the language that you are scraping for. And all these things, you can actually scrape them and store them on maybe Hugging Face for people to use for their research. You can actually scrape for, let's say, the local language, and then you have for the English, so you can build your translation model out of it. All these things are scraping work that you have to go for. And this is the tree one. That is one exercise. If anybody is interested. Let's see the last part. Yeah, so one exercise, I have like two exercises that if somebody is interested in. The first one was the Bible scraping. And then also the first one is to write a Python script to read that JSON file that we looked at from the Jubilee House. All the images, you try to download the images from that file. Like, let me see the data. So you read this file and then download all these images from this URL. So that is an exercise if somebody wants to try it. And once you store it and use it for whatever image classification job that you want to do, or image detection, whatever you want to use it for. If you're a blogger and you need those images to put on your thumbnails, blah, 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 anything, you can actually download it and then use it for whatever you want to do. I think that is all for now. If anybody has a question they want to ask, I am ready.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Theophilus.
Thank you too.
Yeah, so if there are any questions, we can take them. But I want to find out, Theophilus. So with what you showed us regarding the sentiments and all that, what effect has duplicity, like duplication of news items? Because in Ghana, you realize that, okay, if you start scraping from multiple sources, right, you can pick from the same story from Ghana Web, from Nigeria Online, from even the presidencies, right? Yeah, so wouldn't this have an effect on, let's say if you are visualizing the sentiments, you want to find out the impact of the news items on let's say, the economy or something. You get it? How would that come in here, right?
Yeah, so what I've noticed is that most of them, yeah, the content will be around the same, but because sometimes the journalists don't. Okay, some of the websites in Ghana, they have sister websites, right? So what I was saying is that let's say my Joy News or Adom FM or whatever can copy left the same thing from Joy and then put it on their website. Copy and paste. They don't change anything. They'll just tell you, oh, source. They just cite the source and say, okay, this is where we got it from. But if you take a news portal like Ghana Web, they will, paraphrase the words and give it a different headings, and some can even twist and give it a catchy headline and just to attract people. So if you are scraping from sister website, you just have to check for duplicate. You can check for duplicate in code, actually. It shouldn't be anything difficult. Maybe you can say that, okay, if you see certain words in the other article classified to be duplicate, whatever, however you want to set your criteria. It should be straightforward. Does that answer your question?
Sure. I think that is good. That is good, because now we are in the era where everyone just credits. You just need one person to just post a news item and everyone picks it. So it's fine. Yes. So any question for Theophilus? Any question for Theophilus? I think someone has the hand raised. Yeah, Alidu.
Yeah, thank you very much, Theophilus. My question is about the way you implemented the sentiment and the topic analysis. I realized that you defined specific classes for the LLM to be able to use in making a decision how to perform the categorization. And in my experience, I was thinking that sometimes when you set a specific class, the LLM forces whatever decision it has to make to fit that particular class. And in case it does not fit, it's that because there is a select array of classes that it has to use in making the sentiment decision, it does not go beyond that. So I was thinking if there's a way to maybe use some form of a React loop in the decision making of the LLM, so that instead of fixing classes for the sentiment or the topic analysis, the LLM makes a decision using a React approach about how to categorize the sentiment or the topics within the text before it makes the decision. That was something I was thinking about. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's possible. You can leave it open for the LLM itself to actually define what class that content belongs to. But if you want to force it, yeah, then you are forcing it to. So that's part of the prompt engineering techniques that you can go for. You just leave it open for the LLM to decide where that class belongs instead of forcing it to go in a certain direction. Yeah, you're right about that. Yeah. But sometimes too, if you don't force the LLM to behave the way it's supposed to behave, it might go off radar. Yeah. So you have to just be careful how you design your prompts. Does that answer your question?
Yes. Thank you very much. Yeah, it does.
Any more questions?
I think we need more questions. We need more questions. Okay. Yeah. So someone will ask, why LLMs? You get it? Why LLMs for the analysis? Couldn't we have used any simpler approach for the analysis?
Oh, yeah, it's a choice. You don't have to, but if you think agents can help you do the analysis efficiently, yeah, why not? We are in the world of agents right now, so that's why we decide. The other approaches has been with us for a very long time, so why not go into something new and see how that one also works?
Okay, thank you. I think someone's hand is raised. Faisal, please, you can unmute and ask your question. Faisal. Okay, so if Faisal is not ready, we can take Kwame.
Yeah, hi, good afternoon. I joined a bit late, but then I got full sort of preview. Like, so from the conversation, you were using the OpenAI API key, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
My question is your implementation geared towards specifically using OpenAI, or you can actually use any other LLM key? And can this thing be done on a local setup instead of doing a cloud-based system and using local LLMs powered by Olama or something like that? What would be the hardware implementation or hardware infrastructure or constraint, if I'm putting it, hardware constraints, if I want to implement this on a local sort of system?
Yeah, so yeah, that's a good one. You can use any open LLM. It doesn't have to be the proprietary ones, but I chose the proprietary ones. If you have Olama set up, yeah, why not? You can use it. But again, remember that at least some of these open LLMs, you need some GPUs to be able to run it, depending on the size of that open LLM. Yeah, so you are free to use. You can see even as part of the code, there's Olama Queen 2 model here. You can substitute it for this, and you don't need the open AI keys. So yeah, you are free to use it. But you just have to make sure that you have the resources to run it. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you very much.
Yes, I think last month when we met, there was one guy who said I've forgotten the name actually, was that okay, he spends like 2 hours or 3 hours a day every day to source for information and all that, like get content from online so that they could use for their analysis, their daily analysis and all that. Basically like news items and all that, right? So can we have a system like this, which is like openly available for those with that kind of responsibility to help them with their day-to-day activities and all that? Yes, that's something that I'm looking at, as in beyond this meeting, at least.
Yeah, definitely. You can get in touch with these people and tell them what you can do. Once you have access to the code, once I push it out there, you can manipulate it the way you want, and then if it's some income that you can be making from it, or build some system for them that they can be using internally, why not? Yeah, everything is possible. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So thank you very much. We'll take Reginald. Reginald, please unmute yourself and ask your question, please.
Yeah, hello, good evening. Okay, so I wanted to ask about the crawl for AI. Yeah, I heard that one is also another method for the web scraping. But then I wanted to know if you need to connect that one also to maybe another open API key, open AI API key, or you just have to install it directly from maybe GitHub or somewhere and then just go ahead to use it like that.
Yeah, if you look at the code that I'm showing on the screen, you see that you can actually use Ollama open source model for it. But again, using the open AI model, you get some benefits, right? As compared to the open source models. Sometimes the open source models, they are not very, very, very good. So you can experiment with the open source model and filter out the ones that are very, very good for your task. So it's all about benchmarking the model. And then the one that works for you, you go with it. Yeah. But yeah, it's always good to experiment. That's what I can say. Yeah. But again, the reason why I demonstrated the LLM base is that they have their downside, right? So with this presidency or the Jubilee House that we scrape, if we tell the proprietary models to do from page 1 to page 17, look at the amount of data that is involved, right? Sometimes you can hit the context window. You might not have the money to pay for it. So that will force you to go for the open source models. But how good would they also give you an output? Yeah, so it boils down again to experimentation and how much money you have. But it's not a big deal experimenting with the open source models. Yeah. But with this crawl for AI, mostly you can make it crawl like the entire website. That is what they are sometimes good for. But again, you are using an LLM. How much are you ready to pay for? That is the question. So if you don't have money, you go with the legacy approach of scraping. If you have the money, yeah, you go for the proprietary ones or the open source ones. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Okay, so I
Yes,
think okay, sure. Yes, I think his question was answered. Yeah, so just to add to this, I believe that when it comes to scraping task, right, you are looking at a trade-off. Basically, there are three key things that you are looking at: cost, speed, and completeness. So those are the things that you have to look at. It's either you spend more money, it's either you are looking for how fast like you're able to scrape content, and also like the substance in the data that you are scraping. So that's just by the way. But Theophilus, I wanted to ask, most of the tricky sites that embed the HTML in the JavaScript code, right? So the JavaScript serves the HTML. So normally, how would you advise if someone wants to scrape a site with that kind of functionality, right, or that kind of feature? How would you advise they go about it? Yes, so that's just something for us.
Yeah, so in my experience, like the Walmart scenario, the JavaScript was so huge, like very, you will not even notice that is where they are embedding their content. So you have to fish out, like it all boils down to experience. So they embed huge of the information in their Java. So you have to keep inspecting. Sometimes you have to even copy some of the JavaScript and give it to a LLM to fish out certain information for you. So once you see that trend in that JavaScript, then you can, go deep. Mostly it's JSON, right? Very huge one. So you drill down until you find where the data point is. Unlike the basic HTML where once you inspect it, you can easily find where the tags are. So that is that. And also there are robots. Some people put some robots behind their website that it's very, very tough to scrape. Yeah, as I said before, some government websites that even the presidency website, there's no robot there. It's easy, straightforward. But if you come to some US government website, it's very, very difficult to scrape. For whatever they did, I have no idea. Yeah, so that is that. Your question is just about experimentation and experience. You have to watch carefully what you are looking for.
Okay. Thank you very much.
They
some of the,
they
I'll
do
say
that
some of the
because
instances,
Mhm.
some of the instances, you realize that you are working with a minified JS code, and you it makes it even more difficult if you encounter stuff like this, and you have to extract things from that. It becomes very, very difficult. Yeah. So I think Kwame had the hand raised. So you can unmute and ask your question, please.
Okay, thank you, Henry. So just a bit of feedback or addition. For example, sites that are difficult to scrape, a lot of them have sort of a JSON fetch that delays. So in that experience, you could try using, instead of using a headless scraper, like you can use Selenium, a Selenium browser, instead of being headful, not headless, and add a delay. So it will pop up a browser, wait a delay, render it, then sort of scrape it from there. Or you could try rendering, take a picture, then pass the picture through the LLM to convert the picture to text and get it. That's just by the way. My question was, in the scraping, does it scrape the document, any document attached to it?
Document attached to the web page, right?
Yes. Does it scrape, and does it sort of go into the document to add the and whilst doing the embeddings, does it also learn from the content of the document? That is one. And two, in some LLMs, when you're using for research purposes, they can give you other predictions that they can do. So if you are telling to find ABCD, it can also say, I can also do EFG. Will the system be able to give you those other predictions that they can do or it will fix to what you ask it to do?
Yeah, so with the first question, yeah, so with the basic scraping, if you want documents attached to your final data point, yeah, you can add the URLs to it, but it just doesn't open that file and scrape whatever is in there for you. That's the basic traditional way of going about it. Unless, of course, you open that file yourself and then get inside and then scrape whatever you want to scrape. With the Duckling, that one, it has some OCR engine embedded into it. So if it's like a research document, it's able to, grab whatever content is inside. So let me open that the URL. Let's say this. Let's say this scientific document on archive, right? So with the Duckling, it's able to go in there, extract everything, and even add links to these images that are inside this document. The only thing is that it only indicates to you that there is a document around this place in the document, in this, or an image around this place in this PDF document, but it just doesn't actually extract the content from this image. So what you can do is, if you are doing something like multimodal RAG system, yeah, there is a way to use like a clip to extract information from the images inside this document. So there's that is going to be another level of processing. Yeah, so with the initial scraping, yeah, you will not have access to the question you are asking. It has to be another level of process. And then the second question is, you say if you need to guide a model, is that a question?
Does the model give you extra predictions on extra available predictions on things it can do?
Yeah, so it all boils that if it's giving you more information, then some could be relevant and some might not be relevant. So that's why you don't want the model to go off radar. You have to, confine the model to something specific that you want. Because we all know how these LLMs works, right? Sometimes some of these reasoning models, they talk too much. Let me put it that way. They say things that might not be, instead of making it very concise and simple, they talk and they are like talking parrots. Let me say talking parrot. They give you all kinds of information. Now it's not a pain in the ass to read everything. You don't want that kind of feeling. For me, I don't like it. Maybe some people like it. So you have to be careful that even the choice of LLM that you use, if it's a reasoning model, it will give you all kinds of things that you might not like. So that's where you have to confine the model to a certain range so that it doesn't go off too much.
Okay, thank you.
All right. And I think I forgot one thing. Yeah, so with the Selenium, yeah, that option too is there, but I've had some experience that, yeah, so yeah, with the headless, yeah, it's good, but if you are not using the headless, sometimes if you don't have a good machine, it can, freeze your machine, because depending on how many things you are opening, it can give you some feelings that you might not like. So Selenium is also a good one. Yeah, whoever made that point, yeah, it's good. I nearly forgot. Yeah, so there was this thing that I wanted to show, but I nearly forgot. There was this script also that I wrote for Ghana Web. You remember we used the crawl for AI for I think Joy News, and then it gave us some outputs that we need to reprocess again. I think with this code, you are able to actually do this. Okay, let me just run it and stop it along the way. So with this script, all you need to do is to specify the URLs that you so once I run this and I just need to point to the endpoint for this news, and then it will scrape it and put it in a CSV format. But you see, as we did for the crawl for AI using the LLM thing, it actually made the data very unstructured. So you have to now go into that unstructured, reprocess it again. So it's just a trade-off how you are going about things. So if we open this file right now, you see that the data is coming in from Joy News, MP praise for incurable malaria for blah 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 blah, and all of this. You can see data is coming in from Joy News Politics. That is, I said Joy News, Ghana Web, sorry. Ghana Web Politics. Let me go to Ghana Web. Come to news. Yeah, so this is how their page looks like. You can actually scrape everything from this page. Yeah, let me go to politics. Yeah, so these are all the news from the politics. Yeah, so if I give this politics URL to the LLM, it will only put it into unstructured. So you have to fish out all the other information, which is sometimes very, very difficult. So yeah, so I think that is all for today, if there are no more questions.
Yes, thank you very much, Theophilus. I think this session has been very insightful. At least we started with no data, but ended up with what actual insights. It's been very, very great. And I believe that those on the call have learned a thing or two from the session that we've had today. So I'd like to say thank you for the time, availing yourself to take us through this session. Yes, and I want to inform all of us that the recording will be posted on our YouTube page, our YouTube channel, basically. So that's the Ghana AI Research Network. You could go search for it and subscribe, so that when we put the video on there, you'll be able to go over it again and do a recap of what we've done so far. The files, like you said, would be posted on GitHub, so that at least we'll also put the link on there on the YouTube page, so that at least once you watch the video, you'll be able to get access to the materials on GitHub as well. Yes, we'll try and share the slides that you used. Send it to your emails. That's for those who registered. We'll send it to your emails. Yes, we've also launched our website. That's the GhanaAI.org. Yes, it's once you create an account, we are trying to create like a whole community. So you can go engage. You have access to models, hosted models, data sets that at least from one common platform. You could create and share notebooks, create projects, add people on projects, so that you would work on the project together. Basically, we also have an opportunities hub on there where we share grants, grants that are out there, some exchange programs and some scholarships and all that. So we try to aggregate all these things on one common platform, which will help all of us. Yeah, so thank you very much once again to Theophilus, and also to everyone who joined today to make this session a success. Thank you very much. Yes, we also have our page X, right? You could follow us on X too as well. Ghana AI Research Network, everywhere you go. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so I'm on LinkedIn and also on GitHub. So if anybody wants to reach out to me, yeah, they can reach out to me on LinkedIn. And also the link to the GitHub is also on the slide, so you can keep checking. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Theophilus. Yeah, so I think we'll end the call now. Yes, it's a pleasure having all of you on the call. Thank you very much.